Oh, this is hilarious. This is hilarious, man. When the water runs out, he goes, I had soap on half of my body. And then he goes, I squeegeed as much soap off my curves as I could.
Ready to roll.
I don't have my headphones.
Oh, you're retarded. I'm gonna need you to go get those. Might want to prop the door open with a chair for a second.
News Talk 990. You are listening to the
I usually
Community
have something
Radio
on
Show.
film, so it'll be alright. Alright. If you can't find them, I'll go get them.
Say it, October
You have
13th,
audio?
right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You can let it run for a second.
Yeah, you can let it run till it ends.
But nah, I don't know. Alright, listen to that. Okay. October 13th. Alright, go ahead, bring me in whenever you're ready. Good, man?
I can still talk. I didn't even do it. It's not like I paid attention anyway.
Ready?
Good morning. You are listening to WLEE News Talk 990. This is the Community Radio Show. Today's October 13th, 2012. I don't know if it's me. Am I a little staticky? I think I'm okay. How you doing, Hadi? Seems like you're having some issues here at the studio, buddy. You know? You all right?
I'm all right. Good morning. Yes.
Yeah, you're here live with Bukhari Sirraj and Muhammad Hadi. Another interesting Saturday. Today seems to be a nice day so far,
It is
man.
a really nice day.
You know,
I
we
know.
got the folk festival going on. I think I'm gonna check that out later today. You know, first topic, the debates. Basically, Biden destroyed Ryan. That's pretty much all we got to say.
Yeah.
That's okay. Next topic. All right, today we're talking about Hajj.
Yeah, let's get with the numbers first. You're just all
We're-
ready to go.
we're-
You got your laptop
I'm rocking,
ready?
baby. You know, it's crazy because I was like still in the bed probably. I give it about 20 minutes ago.
I can tell.
I was up early, man. I had to meet with some brothers over at the masjid on 2nd Street, man, and you know I came home and wife and little man was in the bed, so I was like, man, I'm hopping back in the bed. Just relax. I was about to just sleep through the show, man, if I hadn't set like
That's all
a
right.
third alarm
It's
to
not
go
like,
off.
listen, it's not like you're not asleep on the show when you're here anyway. So
Whatever,
it would have
man.
made no difference to me.
Yes.
So good morning. Thanks for joining us.
The numbers are 804-788-0990 or toll free 1-877-953-3990.
You can check us out on YouTube at Community Radio Show, also on the web at communityradioshow.com, and you can check out the live stream. You go to WLEE990.am, and you can see what university I went to. Don't yell that.
Okay.
All right? One of them. One of them I
What
went
are
to.
we gonna have a giveaway or something? If you
yeah.
call in and you said yes, I
Look
hope you got
I mean,
something to
yeah,
give away.
Of course. See, look,
give
watching me on the live cam is just, it's a gift in its own, so it's always like a giveaway. So
There we go. Wow. This. No
Self and our
comment.
producer over here just looked at me.
Which, by the way, we would like to thank our producer, man. He does a great job here every Saturday for us. Definitely no complaints there.
I know, keeping us on track.
And keeping you on track. I'm on track with him. We're sitting up in the
I just
pilot
it's
seat.
like it's
now.
like
He's
it's
up the
like
boost.
20 minutes before we go on the air, it's like the most excitement happened. I go to the ATM today, put in my card, and I get this message. I was like, oh, that's not good. My ATM card is expired.
Ah, see, this is what I'm talking about, man.
Look,
So,
I even brought it here. What does that date on there say?
I mean, that date says I should have got a new one a long time ago. That's what that says.
Is that what that date says? But here's what I don't
a
understand.
month ago. We're in October.
If I'm at the bank that actually issued me the ATM card, why do I need a new ATM card? I'm at the bank. That's my bank. I mean, I don't own the bank, but it's the bank that I bank with.
Yes, man. They got to stamp it out in China and then ship it back over here.
That's true. It's probably true. So, yeah.
No, hopefully not. Like I know at the credit union, I think one time I was able to get a card directly from them. They didn't have to. No, I actually no. Well, then they did stamp it, but they stopped stamping them, man. But big banks like Wachovia, Wells Fargo, and stuff like that, man. They just I
haven't. There's actually a pile of mail in the corner that my wife tells me.
That's probably where it is. I think last time I went to your house, man, you was just like you don't check the mail. It's like, how do you not check the mail? It's been for like 4 days. How you haven't checked the mail? What's wrong with you?
All right, so as you know, we're coming up on the season of Hajj, and Hajj is the pilgrimage. It takes place when people go to Saudi Arabia. So we wanted to talk a little bit about kind of what the purpose of Hajj is. I think there's a lot of mystery, if you will, around that. I think
mystery.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a mystery. I think just people just don't know about it.
Well, I think mystery as far as why would people do perform the Hajj, knowing, given all the trials and tribulations that could come about of it, or the challenges that exist, going to Hajj, from someone who's outside, someone who's not Muslim, looking at it from the outside in.
Hey, no pain, no gain.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that, and I think part of the misunderstanding, or part of a misunderstanding of what it is that Muslims do, I think, is partly because we live in such a, I would say, consumer-oriented world, and materialistic, and somewhat secular world, in that a lot of people are going away from organized religion that requires you to do certain things dogmatically. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just saying, as far as, certain requirements that are there that you have to do as part of the tenets of the faith. And just recently, I believe it was last week, that the percentage of people that consider themselves not to be affiliated with a church has gone up.
Yeah.
And so there's definitely this shift towards having some level of faith, but not doing it within an organized construct. And then you look at Muslims, in which there's certain aspects of it that are rigid. And again, I don't mean that in a negative way. That's as rigid. It's a requirement, and that they're stringent on, and they're holding on to that. Fasting in Ramadan is one of them. I know it's surprising to people that, yes, we don't eat or drink during daylight hours in a society all around us that's doing that. Performing the prayer when the time comes to go kind of somewhere in a corner or something, something like that. And I think the Hajj is also another one of those, in which you consciously make an effort to take 2 weeks off of work and then go through the expense to make this difficult journey. And so what the roots of Hajj, we actually have we'll have a guest, Bilal Aslam, who some of you may know, performed Hajj last year, and he wrote about his experience, his 15-day experience on his blog, and it's funny, and I know it might sound weird to say that something is funny. His experience is funny when he went on the spiritual journey, but it's funny. It's very well written. It's funny in the aspect of of him being able to find the humor in points in which he's being challenged, as like we are in normal life. So, and then we'll have did an interview with someone named Ali Farouk, who's actually his first time going on Hajj. So kind of talk about his experience of what he's expecting to get out of the pilgrimage.
Yeah, kind of like before and after.
Correct, and what. I
actually didn't get a chance to listen to this.
And you say that now. See, that's just
I'm a busy man. I can't do it. I gotta be able to have you do something on your own, and it actually turn out. I
had to get my own coffee this morning.
Hey, I can't help you with that.
But I know your mom has gone on the.
Yes, my mother has left for Hajj. She left last Sunday. And which she left earlier than a lot of folks, but that kind of gives time to one, I guess, see a little bit of the region, I guess get acclimated to a different totally different society. I mean, she's never been overseas. But I don't even remember the last time she was on. I think she's only been on a plane once.
Wow.
So it's kind of
she's getting dropped
big
in the deep end of the pool.
Yeah, it's just
that's
straight.
Cold,
just
by the way.
Kadunk. That's it. You know. But I mean, it's good. You know, I mean, she was definitely looking forward to it. She's been planning and preparing for a while, and you know, it's one of those. Hajj is one of those things that, from a religious standpoint, is very important. I guess this is a little bit more background. You kind of skim through. I know we got a lot of listeners out there now. You know, since we're big time.
I'm getting to that.
You're talking slow, man. We only got an hour. You know how these things go. Okay, Hajj is the fifth pillar of Islam, and if you don't know the 5 pillars of Islam, which is basically our core beliefs, which is the Shahada, that's our
testament of faith.
Okay, Salat, which is our
prayer.
Zakat, which is
almsgiving or tithing.
Okay, I was going to say something. The fasting, which I think at this point more people are definitely a little bit more in tune with, which is Ramadan. That is the 4th pillar of Islam. And then you have the Hajj, which is required on every Muslim at least once in their lifetime, as long as they are physically and monetarily able to do it. Which, by the way, I remember when my dad went on Hajj, I think I was maybe like early 90s. I mean, I think the cost around that time was maybe like $2,500.
Right.
Something like that. Now it's well over, between $6,000 and $8,000, depending on the group that you go with. And my mom, she went with a group out of Atlanta, and apparently it's a lot better to go with the group,
yes.
So this way you have a guide. I mean, especially if you don't speak, Arabic or anything like that, or have no idea about, that region of the world, that culture. Is you gotta have people there that you can rely on and that can communicate with you and basically get you going where you need to go.
Right, and tell you what it is that you need to do. So the Hajj, where people go to is it's a city in Saudi Arabia. It's in the western part of that country. It's the city is called Mecca, and what is often referred to in the Western world is the black cube that's called the Kaaba, and the historical significance of that is that was the sacred location that the Prophet Abraham built for the worship of God. I mean, in every religion there are certain places where when you go to where they're going for the worship of God, it has to be clean and pure, and it's kind of like it's not in the middle of the living room like with everything else, if you think of it that way. And throughout the evolution of that, it turned into moved away from being monotheistic to being polytheistic, of worshiping of idols and things of that nature, until the advent of Islam and during Prophet Muhammad's prophethood, in which the idols were taken out of the Kaaba, the black cube, and it was turned into the symbolic house of God. Right.
And it's not really a black cube, actually. That's really just a covering.
It's a covering.
That's
it's made out of red bricks.
Right.
That's a covering that's put over the top of it. And it's more than just going to that particular part. There are other places that you other things and rites that you have to do. One of which is very significant, is going traveling between 2 mountain ranges there. And the significance of that is, if we go back to the story of Prophet Abraham. Now, I will put a little asterisk next to this. Is I understand that there's a interpretive difference between the Muslims and the Jews and Christians as to the status of who Hagar was. But if we can get past that for a second, the point is that Prophet Abraham, Islamically, we believe that Hagar was his wife. He's a prophet of God, and they don't answer to their whims and things of that nature. And so, Islamically, we don't believe that Hagar was anything other than Abraham's wife. Hajar is either Hajar or Hagar, and so he was commanded by God and to take Hagar and her son Ishmael into the desert, in that particular part between those 2 mountains, and she was running back and forth looking for water. And that's where the well of Zamzam sprung up. And so the reason I bring that up is that it's very significant that part of what we do as part of our religious obligation has a component to it in which we're paying homage to something that has its roots in a female, and that's particularly significant considering the fact that unfortunately what's being portrayed, the violence against women and things like that happens in the name of Islam. And so if you go back to the original roots of Islam, it's completely contrary to what we're seeing. So that's one of the things that you do going back and forth, and it's not an easy thing because I failed to mention one thing. You haven't done Hajj, have you?
No, not sure.
Okay. The most significant thing that I think is that men can only have basically two pieces of cloth, if you will. It's basically, think of it as a large size towel that you use, the for the shower. You can one is to cover your top and one is to cover your bottom, and you have to kind of tie that. So if you can imagine having that on and trying to navigate yourself through all these people and in addition to having doing certain things. And so that's also and the reason behind that, and it has to be white, is to say that regardless of what your station in life is, you could be a doctor or you could be a janitor. When you come and you make the pilgrimage in the sight of God, you guys are all equal. And that the only difference that exists between the two of you in the sight of God is in your level of faith and in your level of practice. And so that levels the playing field, and that everyone is seen as the same. Everyone stays in the desert in the tents, and the amount of money that you have can't help you in that particular situation. And what scholars have said is that it tries to emulate what it is basically your journey through life, in that you get there and it's like being a newborn kid. You don't know what's going on. Someone has to guide you, and you continue kind of through this maturation spiritually as well, until you finally make the last circumambulation. You going around the Kaaba, the cube, and you're like, wow, that was really a quick 2 weeks. And that's how life is. You look back, and how many of us stop on a daily basis or weekly or whatever and look back and say, wow, that was rather quick 20 years of my life that just
right, that
just went away. And I think people come back from Hajj and it's a life altering experience.
Should be. Yeah, I would hope so.
I've known my parents have known people. I've known people that owned restaurants, and they sold alcohol, and they had belly dancers and things like that. And they went to Hajj with no intention of shutting this down. And they just went kind of more at performing the Hajj dogmatically because there was something that they were required to do. They come back and completely turn around his business because he had that spiritual
revival.
Yeah, awakening and revival that it was, which is interesting because I was talking to Ali, we'll hear in a little bit, and historically what we've been told is from our parents' generation is that you wait until you become kind of more established in life to do Hajj, which doesn't make sense in the sense that you want to go when you're younger because you want to have that spiritual awakening or that change in your life early on in life, so you can live your life in accordance to that for a longer period of time. I don't know if that makes sense. You want to change your behavior, have a better relationship with God starting at a younger age, as opposed to waiting and making Hajj and having that spiritual change later on in life. So there are a lot more younger people that are making Hajj. So that's definitely been a shift. So if you've actually gone to Hajj, or if you're going to Hajj and you want to feel free to call in and tell us about your experience. Sorry, I was getting ahead of myself. I got the 2-minute warning from our the general over here. He's got a Marines hat on. He looks like
Call in. The numbers is 7880990. Or 1-877-953-3990. You didn't take a breath at all, you know.
I didn't take a breath. I did not.
It's cool.
Listen,
you know,
sorry,
I'm gonna let you go ahead. You know, I'll sit to the side.
I got multiple gerbils running in my head at super duper speed.
You needed to trank some of those guys.
Are you listening to the Community Radio Show on WLEE News Talk 990? We're talking about the Hajj pilgrimage to Mecca, Saudi Arabia.
Yep, call in. And also, if you had any other questions or comments, anybody out there, not just Hajjis or future Hajjis or previous Hajjis, anybody out there in general public. Hey, if you're interested about Hajj or you have specific questions, next up we're gonna have a great interview, and I'm sure maybe we can get some of those questions answered. So call in 788-0990. This is a Community Radio Show. See you back in a minute.